Room 237 is a Jumperscape audio production. You're a long way from home, stranger. But you are not alone. Join us in Room 237.
Hello, and welcome once again to Room 237, coming at you again for the third week in a row. We have not crashed and burned just yet.
Well, we almost burned.
I was going to say, no pun intended.
No pun intended. We may have had a little bit of an inflammatory incident. Pun definitely intended on that one before we started recording here, but today's a special day. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, James.
And I'm Ashton.
And today is probably the most fun episode we've gotten to do so far. Most fun movie.
Oh, yeah.
And
yep. So today we watched Ready or Not, directed and written by Radio Silence. And this movie came out in 2019. It was super exciting. And I have some special fun facts for you guys today because I really like knowing the cinema score ratings of things. This movie got a B+ cinema score, which is actually really good. Very few movies, especially very few horror movies, receive A cinema scores. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it got an 89% on the tomato meter and a 78% audience score, which checks for me. I really like this movie.
And we'll get into why very shortly.
Oh, yeah.
But before, if you'd like to come and chat all about your favorite horror movies with us, we have a Discord, and you can join it for free. No need to be a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/Jumperscape. Please join us. But you can also join us at discord.gg/Jumperscape if you want to see what's coming up down the pipeline. We're going to probably start getting a list of movies we plan to cover in the future. So if you want to leave some suggestions or just kind of talk about some of the movies we've talked about, that's the place to do it.
It's already popping too.
Already popping.
We have not released a single one of these episodes yet, and the Discord was already blowing up my phone.
So much that if you are familiar with some other Jumperscape projects like the library, later in this very episode, we're going to have our very first Q&A
session. Yay!
And if you want to leave questions for that Q&A in the future, you have to join our Discord and you have to put them in our Q&A channel. That's the only place I'm going to look at them.
Yeah, that's the only place we're going to see them, guys.
But yeah, before we get into the movie, there was a strange voice in the background you might have heard.
A little bit of laughter.
A little bit of laughter, a little bit of commentary.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me. This is Shane from the library.
And Shane from our real life too.
Nah, just the library.
No, he's not real outside the library, guys.
I'm just a figment. They created me for business expenses. That's all.
Discount deep voice on the library. we kind of.
That's rude. That's fucked up.
You know, it's funny. Whoops. I said discount, but I meant to say.
Am I good? Oh, that's right. We're allowed to say fuck on here.
Yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Okay. I was going to say, whoops. I'm like, please mark that.
I said discount, but I actually meant to say token.
I don't know what I'd prefer.
Because me, Austin, and Connor all have... Connor kind of tries to pitch down a little bit, but he has a high-pitched voice.
Who, Connor?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he naturally, he doesn't sound how you'd expect him. Like, when you look at him...
big dude.
Yeah, he does not look like how he sounds. Like, if you hear his voice, like, people in the Discord, if you're in there already, you got a bit of a sneak peek at him the other day when I sniped him when we were at IHOP because the dude was putting salt on his pancakes. Yeah. So I took
put fucking salt on his pancakes.
Yeah, so we went in there. We went in the Discord, outed him, and who was someone defend? Like,
no, Potassium. What did Potassium say? He said something even crustier.
Pepper on ice cream.
Yeah, he puts pepper on his ice cream.
Yeah, so Potassium, if you're listening, you're going to hell.
You pepper your ice cream?
Yes. I think that's worse than putting salt on your pancakes.
I mean, I guess I
Debatable.
could understand gelato.
I don't want to even say debatable.
I would. Here's the thing. I would buy that pepper on ice cream's a thing. But
I wouldn't.
Salt on pancakes.
Ice cream is
No.
cold and sweet. Pepper is dry and spicy.
Well, maybe
Ish.
it's not ice cream. Maybe it's like a sherbet or something. No, that's even worse.
He should have specified. Yeah, that doesn't make it better.
That's worse,
But-
actually.
Getting back on topic, yes, I took a picture of Connor to out him in the Discord, and everyone got somewhat of a face reveal. It wasn't a very appealing
It's
picture,
the most
but
unflattering picture.
yes,
I've
it
ever
really
seen.
was. But I asked him, I'm like, he's like, no, I really don't care. So now you guys know what Connor looks like.
Congrats to everybody.
Yay.
Well, back to the worst wedding ever. I mean, actually, the wedding itself seemed kind
The
of
wedding
nice.
No, it was
kinda
bougie.
nice.
It was
It was
bougie.
pretty bougie.
Yes, no, it was really nice, and they kind of like it really got in. Like I thought the wedding and like the love scenes were really gonna drag out to start the movie off. It didn't. It was like wedding.
The first 10, 15
yeah,
minutes.
exactly.
And then you
it
get
was
right
great.
into the thick of the plot.
But also,
Absolutely.
like, that opening sequence was like, I just said hell of an opening sequence. They just were fucking killing a guy right away.
Yeah, I wrote it
Yeah.
goes hard. See, me and Ashton always
I
take
wrote
notes
it goes hard.
for the movies we cover. This was a hard movie to take notes for, not because it's deep or there's a lot to think about. It's just a movie that kind of makes you go, hell yeah.
It doesn't take
Like-
itself. It knows what it is. It doesn't take itself seriously.
And you just want to watch.
yes,
Like there's definitely some messages out there about class warfare and like kind of the interactions between the rich and the poor. And like there's definitely commentary in the movie. Don't get me wrong. And there are things to pick up on in there. But a lot of it is just like, hell yeah, she got crushed with a dumbwaiter. That's sick. Like
so sick. And I also did my list of things I wouldn't do. And starting off with this movie, the first scene we get with our lead, she is talking to her husband before the wedding in her wedding dress.
yeah, that's a big no.
That's a big no-no. That is a
Yes.
lot of bad luck she was
Yeah.
throwing at that
You know,
situation.
my conspiracy is that's the whole reason this movie happened.
Probably.
because they were talking and seeing each other right before their wedding.
Well,
so
and I did write that down
it
because
was doomed from the start.
Because yeah, that's what you're supposed to pick up on. Probably is like, oh
This is already off to a horrible fucking start.
yeah, but that is on the list. I will not be letting my husband see me in my wedding
Good.
dress.
Yeah. And
James.
James, that means just stay away.
I respect tradition.
Yeah, as you should. I mean, that's like not even a hard one to follow though. It's like she didn't like usually like
Like,
in
dude,
a movie.
just wait.
Right. And usually in movies like that, there's a cliche like, oh, you're not supposed to see me in my dress. And the guy's like, I don't believe it. But like neither of them even like questioned it. They acted like it was completely fucking normal.
No, and I think that's supposed to comment on how they're not like a traditional bride and
Yeah.
groom.
That, okay. That's,
And the thing
that makes
is
sense.
that hurts is like early on in this movie, you like see their interactions and they are actually like a really like cute couple.
Yeah.
And they're like they have really good chemistry. And that makes what happens later suck.
It makes it hurt.
It makes it hurt, which is what makes this it's essentially a horror comedy.
Yeah.
But while it doesn't take itself too seriously, it takes the situation seriously enough that you still feel the emotion that these characters are going through.
There's a good build up between the husband and wife.
Mhm.
That's the thing. That's what makes it suck. There's a good build up between them.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like them. I like them as a couple. And I was actually starting to like the family as we got to know them.
Yeah, like because
Some of them.
some of them,
Daniel.
right when you meet them, you kind of get a nice little flash image of all of their archetypes. You
How,
know,
like
Yeah.
what kind of person? The one person I had trouble figuring out was the mom. Like from the start.
Oh, I liked the mom from the start.
At first, like
well, she's like the mirror image of Grace.
right.
Mhm.
It was just very,
Essentially.
it was very hard to like get her. Like, are you gonna be a bitch or are you gonna be,
She offered her a smoke.
Yep.
immediately.
Yeah, she did.
That's always a good sign.
No,
That's
right.
a great
But
sign.
remember what happened late? Just at the end, towards the end of the movie, it just completely flip flopped. Like it completely. They don't give you like any hints on everyone else. You can kind of look and be like, okay, you're gonna be an asshole. You're gonna be cool. You're gonna be an asshole. But her, like, it was just up in the air. I at least couldn't figure it out.
But I can't think of a scenario where being offered a smoke by somebody is a bad thing.
No.
So it makes you okay. Well, maybe if you're like,
excuse me, I went through the DARE program when I was in school.
that was a different. I was going to say, actually, if you're like a POW and you get offered a smoke, that's probably going to be a bad thing.
Oh, I just meant in the
like
same
it'll be like,
sense.
it's like your last smoke.
Yeah, it's like you want to smoke before we shoot you.
Yeah, you
Like-
know you're gonna get off. You want to have a smoke.
Okay.
Maybe that's like that's how you could like perceive that.
Look at that accidental analysis.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like I didn't even think about it. That I thought
we
she
just
was
ran into that one.
like, oh, you're anxious because your wedding here. You want to smoke, or hey, tonight there's a chance we have to literally hunt you down and completely fucking murder you. Here's your last smoke.
See, here's the thing, though. I don't think any of them were thinking that was going to happen, except for the really, really creepy
Aunt Helene.
She
Aunt
wanted it to happen.
Aunt
She
Helene
wanted
looks
it.
like she's been waiting for someone else to have to
She wanted someone to fuck
have
around
their-
and find out.
spouse killed.
Yeah.
I mean,
And she's randomly Scottish
sometimes.
sometimes.
Sometimes she
I
just has, I call, rich American accent.
I didn't notice. Did her accent come and go?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
I
it
never
did.
noticed.
It definitely
Like some
did.
days she'd just be like, why is he the only one who's seen Mr. LaBelle in his chair? And then she'll
Oh,
just be
yeah.
like, the girl. Like,
Yeah.
Interesting.
but this wedding looks really nice.
Yeah.
It's the
like-
least they could do.
I mean, granted, they're really rich. Well, we should probably explain what the Les Dumas family does. They're a board game empire.
Mhm. And
And
they own sports teams now.
they own
too.
sports teams.
4, I believe.
4.
Yes.
4.
That's a lot.
They didn't. They
This
didn't.
is why Shane doesn't
they-
take notes. He just remembers
They
these
didn't.
things.
They didn't specify what teams they were. They just said, or what sport, what team. They just like, we own 4 sports teams, but probably due to copyright issues, they probably couldn't say much.
Because then you basically just be slandering whatever sports teams you said.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
They're probably all soccer teams.
Or polo. Polo.
It checks out.
It does.
It does.
It's a rich person's sport. 100%.
Wait, polo or water polo?
Either or.
Both.
Yeah, they can
All-
probably.
All 3 polos.
There's
They also-
3 of them?
The shirt.
That's not a sport.
That's not a sport, James.
He was trying to make a joke, but it was just like.
I thought
It was funny. It was so goofy that it made me laugh. I knew what you were getting. I'm like, he's not talking about the clothing brand, right? And I saw his face. I'm like, he totally fucking is.
I was talking about the whole type of shirt, not even just the polo brand.
Yeah. Okay. But okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, they make board games, and that's very important. So a little Les Dumas. Is it Dumas or Dumas?
Domas.
The Les Dumas backstory is essentially great grandpa. I'm not sure if he's great grandpa for the patriarch of the family or if just that's
I think
what
that's
they call
just the
him.
title because they said he was a sea merchant.
he was a sea merchant.
Mm-hmm.
And on his travels, he ran into a man named Mr. LaBelle. And they formulated a deal at the crossroads, even if you want to kind of go that route, where basically they were given this box, and I lost my train of thought. Help me, Ashton.
it pulled like. Are you talking like when she pulled the game out?
I'm trying to
Yeah.
just say the Les Dumas backstory.
The Les Dumas backstory, yeah. So there was this box that Mr. LaBelle gave Les Dumas, and he said, like, figure out how to open it. And great grandfather figures out how to open this box, and it just reveals a card. And we can get into more of what that means in a minute.
But basically, because of Mr. LaBelle, great grandpa was able to start the Fortune 500 board game company.
He became Hasbro.
It's basically Hasbro.
It's Hasbro.
But that checks with like the opening credits of the movie. You just see a bunch of their little board games, which
And
I know you have,
I have
a fun fact about
it.
so I had to segue you into it.
So, a couple things about this beginning of the movie. So, they only had 5 candelabras for the filming of this.
Oh, that's fun. They just had to
move the candelabras around for each scene.
Like every shot in the mansion when there was a candelabra, it's like one of the 5.
It's
same
one of
ones.
5 candelabras.
It makes you wonder if like the mansion was like an actual mansion
It
they
was.
used, or was it an?
It was.
I forget.
That's a bitch.
I forget where it is.
You had to lug the.
but
you
it's
had
a
to-
pretty famous mansion.
You had to lug those all around
Yeah,
that big ass mansion. Holy hell! No, thank you.
that's the PA's job.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's literally just bitch work at that point.
Yeah. And you can tell for that opening sequence, I think, that they just kind of use the same hallway over and over again and like just like replaced what was sitting there. So that kind of makes sense with the candelabras. But also for those board games, they submitted around 200 board game names, but only 8 of them were cleared by legal. Like the legal department.
Whoa. So like they weren't allowed to use
So
a
either
fuck ton of them.
yeah, so either like they must have been too close to real board game names, or were real board game names, or were bad. Like,
Do you have any of the
say
names?
that.
Do you have-
I don't have any of the names.
Gotcha. I
Unfortunately,
was gonna say that'd be interesting just to find out like what got turned away.
I would like to know.
You know, if this movie like did really, really well, that would have been fun if they made the board games into real board games. Maybe they did. I don't
They
know.
might have. We
Yeah, I
might
was
just
gonna say,
not know about
I'm
it.
sure. I mean, when we were kids, when fucking Zathura came out when we were children, they made an actual Zathura board game.
That was a good movie.
Zathura is a great movie.
But Jumanji was better.
This Zathura was great value Walmart edition Jumanji.
That was the
Pretty
one
much.
with Mr. Freddie Fazbear in it, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
It was
and
much,
Kristen Stewart.
Yes, it was. He was just a hell of a lot younger.
Mr. Freddie Fazbear?
The main
Josh
character-
Hutcherson?
Yeah,
Okay.
Peter
yes,
Malark.
yes.
Just say his actual name.
I couldn't remember
I
his name.
drew a blank too. It's okay. I knew who you were talking about.
Thank you.
Oh, man. I like our little side tangents. They're fun.
But anyway,
This is going to be a hard movie not to go on side tangents.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many there's so many different conversations you can have from this fucking movie. Like there's just so much. It just goes absolutely ballistic. It's buck fucking wild.
It's amazing.
It is great.
I'm pretty much just freeballing without notes at this point because my notes are so incoherent.
Well, yeah. So I was
literally
gonna bring
have-
us.
Aunt Herline is a cock block. And it goes-
That's where I was going next.
It
That's where I
goes
was
straight
going
to
next.
Coke Nose.
So that's where I'm going next. I was gonna lead us into right after the wedding. They end up in the bedroom again, and she's getting all excited. And he keeps trying to stop her and like say something to her, and the thing that she said that I felt the most deeply resonated with me was "shut up and take your pants off."
He's trying to be like, we have to play the
We
stupid
have
game.
to play this fucking
Shut
game.
up, take your pants off.
Shut up and take your pants off. And he is so ready to. He was like, well, maybe a quickie. Like
The thing is, it's just like that should be honestly a red flag. Is after you get married, I guess honeymooning at your in-laws' house. Like, aren't you supposed to just like go that night?
maybe it's different when your in-laws live in a really
I was just saying, maybe
fancy
right, but
mansion.
still, you figure you'd want fucking private. Like, I mean, I guess
I would.
I get the mansion's like absolutely massive, but like, wouldn't you want to just like still go somewhere like with just that's supposed to be your night? That should be an immediate red flag. If you're Grace, that should be your immediate red flag.
Well, the next red flag is that Aunt
Helene.
Aunt Helene
was,
is just sitting,
Was
is
being
just
a
standing
peeping Tom.
there.
She wasn't even going to say anything. She just was sitting there waiting for it to escalate.
She
If they
really
were
was.
if they were going to start going at it, she probably wouldn't have said anything. The only reason she said something is because Grace saw her in a mirror. That's
Well,
it.
I mean, she didn't exactly get to consummate her marriage.
Whoa.
Just saying. Living vicariously.
Yeah, no, that's fair, I guess. But still,
That's my analysis.
holy shit. It was just creepy, man. It was just,
I wonder
it was
what
creepy.
Aunt Helene's BDSM test results would have been.
Okay.
Moving on. This is a horror podcast.
So yeah, and then we meet the daughter and she has Coke on her nose. That's crazy. You just talk right now, okay? I've lost my train of thought.
the daughter was basically was almost a punchline of the entire movie. She got basically she was leaving. I didn't even notice until James pointed out, but she was a druggie. She was, she walked in, and the first scene she was in, she walked in and she had Coke on her nose when she was making introductions to Grace. I didn't notice it. She just looked off.
Grace notices it.
Right.
And while she's talking, it's such a thing that girls do. This is a thing that girls do for other girls, if you don't know.
They warn them if they have Coke on their nose.
They warn them if they have something on their face by touching the part of their face.
Doing?
That's why she was rubbing her
confused.
nose.
When I saw her do that, I'm like,
the male brain can't understand, because if I looked at Shane and he had Coke on his nose, I'd be like, dude, you have Coke on your nose.
He would just tell me. We're simple creatures. James would tell me if I had cocaine on my nose.
Women are a little bit more polite and they don't want to embarrass each other. So what we do is we'll go, you guys can't see me. We'll make a very exaggerated face and touch the part of our face that there was stuff on the other person's face. And that's the cue. Oh, I forgot Coke on my nose.
But once Aunt Helene, her whole peep fest is over, she's like, get downstairs. We got to play the game. And that's when we get our nice little exposition that whenever a new family member is initiated into the family, they have to play a game.
And so that box that we were talking about earlier, that great grandfather figured out how to open, has one card in it. And that is how Mr.
LaBelle.
Thank you. Mr. LaBelle he basically is the person controlling which game happens that night. So one card comes out of the box. And unfortunately for Grace, she chooses the only murder card.
She didn't really choose,
the only one.
But she got the only murder
card. And
I
was under the impression, no matter what kind of cards she pulled in the game she would have to play. I was under the impression it was always going to be a game that ultimately ends with her getting killed.
That's the only murder card.
But apparently hide and seek.
How else would people actually make it into the family?
Right. Which, yeah. It was hide and seek, and that is the only game. It could have been checkers, chess, something just silly and goofy, but no, hide and
seek.
And this is probably the best moment of tension in the movie, where she's like, hide and seek, are we really going to play that? And they just pan around and you see everyone's face.
Yep, I guess we are.
In my notes, it just says red flag, red flag, red flag.
Yeah.
But what's the dad's an actual name? I just called him the dad the entire time.
I have it written down. Let me find
it. You should take your cheat sheet out.
It's here. I just didn't write down which one was the dad. I'm thinking it's Tony. Because I don't remember anyone else's name being Tony.
All right, so Tony Le Domas.
Yes, it was
Domas.
Tony.
It should be Domas. It sounds French.
It's Spanish. That's why it's Domas.
Oh.
Well, Tony. I
think it's Spanish.
He takes charge in trying to keep his act together because everyone else is hyperventilating basically, and he's just like, oh yes, well you drew the card, so you'll be hiding, and we'll be seeking.
He was trying to keep his cool and play it off because the whole family, and especially Alex, was just like, oh shit. Yeah, he was hyperventilating, starting to sweat. He was getting all shifty eyed. And the dad had to
Alex
keep his
has
cool.
straight up Hayden Christensen crying eyes going on, just smoldering.
Yeah.
And she's like,
and the mom is so disappointed. She liked Grace. She did not want to have to kill Grace. She wanted Grace to stay. And in fact, while Grace is hiding, they all, get prepared.
And the hide and seek song slaps.
Oh, it slaps so hard.
Hide and seek.
But everyone gets prepared, and she actually says to Finch that she's never liked him, and I felt that was implied. Damn, I wish this one was you.
Finch is the greasy son-in-law of the Coke daughter.
Bro tried to laugh it off, but he looked her in the eye and she just kind of stared at him like, Okay, you're being very much serious at this point. He tried to laugh it off, like, "Oh, you're funny, Ma. You're funny," but nope. She wished
like,
it was him. She wishes it was him.
She was like, "Damn it, she was gonna be great."
But they start passing out all these like ye olden time weapons,
Yeah,
and
like 19th century weapons.
like they kind of stage up like they're cold blooded, experienced killers. But I think the best part of this movie is they all really suck at it.
Yeah, they most of them have not done it.
Yeah, I mean, considering how many other like, in-laws that they have that weren't killed, like she was the first one out of like how many?
Yeah, that was a lot.
Exactly.
So they're like, "Yep, I guess we're doing it." So it showed. The daughter was exponentially bad at it, and it was like it became
Mr.
a
Some are
LaBelle?
definitely worse than others.
Mr. LaBelle is not greedy with his sacrifices. He
No,
doesn't
I
need
think
that
it's
many.
straight up for his entertainment.
I think so too.
Like that's what I'm getting. I don't think he actually needs them.
Must not.
But when they're, getting all set up, you get your first little running gag, and that's Finch not knowing how the crossbow works. He's just like, "Do you really think I know how to use this thing?" And of course, as they start seeking, Finch's first thing he does is go sit on the toilet and watch a tutorial video of you and your crossbow.
Which includes a cameo from the two writers of this movie. So the two crossbow instructors are the writers.
Which is a fun little fact.
Fun fact.
But it's kind of funny waiting for the moment where Grace realizes what's actually happening, because she's just sitting there in the dumbwaiter like, "Hey Grace, how was your wedding night?" "Oh, it's great. I sat in a dumbwaiter." Like,
She thought they were playing an actual game of hide and seek. She didn't know like they were arming up to go to fucking World War III. She was hiding, thinking it was a normal game. She finally ended up finding out, like it was not too long after that, I believe.
Yeah,
she got out and
yes.
Alex got her, right?
So, so my next thing on my list of things I wouldn't do is get out of my hiding spot when I'm playing hide and go seek. I take that game very seriously.
life or death or not, you're hiding there until you are found or die of dehydration. That's just how it goes.
Here's my counter argument to that. Later in the movie, we'll get there at some point, but later in the movie, one of the maids or servants went into that dumbwaiter. So she would have been found regardless. Unless it was a different one.
It was the same dumbwaiter, but I think
Blessing in disguise, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I don't think I don't think she would have hidden there if the other crap wasn't going down.
Yeah.
That is true. But I think it's a way to show that it was a pretty obvious hiding place to go hide.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I feel like if you're thinking, like, after you check, the random corners, your first thought would be like, "Oh, I should check the dumbwaiter. That'd be a place to hide."
I would check the cabinets first. I feel like a lot of people are scared to hide in a dumbwaiter.
I would not hide in the dumbwaiter.
No,
I'd be terrified.
Those things are dangerous.
It's too heavy for a dumbwaiter.
I'd be fucking terrified.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it.
But you have to just ignore logic with dumbwaiters in movies, because people hide in them all the time and they don't like break like they should.
Well, that was a working dumbwaiter, so maybe that's why it didn't break like it should.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, Alex captures her in the most
terrifying way possible.
Yeah,
in fact,
covering her mouth and dragging her into a room.
In fact, it was my first jump scare of the movie, where I at least got an inch off of the couch.
Yeah.
I think that might have been. Was that the only like actual jump scare?
Pretty much.
I think that was.
No, Bevan. I called him Bevins. That's a different movie. Stevens outside the car later in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There are two jump scares I can think of.
Yeah,
in this
those
film.
are the two that come to. I couldn't even think of the second.
So if
one. The second one didn't get me at all.
If you struggle with jump scares, this is the movie for you.
yes,
There's not that many of them.
It's more of like an environmental horror. It's like the situation, what's going to happen next, the adrenaline rush.
Exactly.
It's
very much
atmosphere.
a tense, thrilling jaunt.
Yeah.
But Alex sitting there trying to explain what's actually going on, and then the maid walks in. It's just like, "Hello,"
And the Coke daughter shoots her through the eye.
That becomes the running gag. The daughter is so like jittery and hopped up, she starts accidentally killing the hands.
All of the help.
Yes, and that is how Grace eventually finds out what's going on after Alex grabbed her and pulled her into the room to like, hey, you need to be quiet and listen to what I say. One of the hands goes in the room and I forget. I think
she's
she was
looking for one of the little kids,
Yeah,
which
she was.
is a
Yep.
kid of the Coke daughter.
Yes,
And-
she was looking for one of the kids.
This was a great moment in the movie because this is where you get to see Samara Weaving like really do the acting chops, because it kind of brings you back down to earth because you witness how she reacts to this information, and it's about as rough as you'd expect, because here you are trying to get murdered by all of your in-laws, which is probably just about everyone's nightmare.
Stay close, stranger. The room awaits you after these messages.
Is that your nightmare, James?
What?
Is that your nightmare, James?
I said just about anybody's.
I know.
It's not particularly mine, but when I'm married, I'll get back to you. I don't know. I mean, in-laws can be scary, I'd imagine.
I forget where we were.
We were talking about when Grace finds out she's actually being hunted. The Coke. We're just gonna call her the Coke daughter because she was just a punchline the whole movie. She accidentally shot one of the hands, thinking somehow, some way, it was Grace in her wedding dress, and the family comes rushing in like, "Oh, I got her!" And they're like, "You did not kill Grace. This was one of our fucking maids." And she just basically gets laughed at the whole time. And they're like, "Where does it look like she's wearing a white dress at all?" And the whole family's just like, "You're just a fuck up." And that becomes a running gag throughout the movie.
And we also get another one of our running gags, and that's heads or tails for who gets what end of the body to carry.
Yes, they have to carry the body.
Which is horrifying. Like, just the casualness of killing for them is kind of crazy.
Yes and no, because
Yes.
it's like none of them are used to it, but then they're like, all right, well, time to get rid of the body, heads or tails.
Yeah,
Like, it's
exactly.
so weird. It's such a weird, like,
Like, they're just kind of like, instead of like actually being a little distraught about one of their maids dying, they're just like, oh, she was nice.
She was nice. It wasn't the one we're
Darn.
looking for. And it got to the point where
Can we use her for the ritual? No, it doesn't count.
Yeah, that's when
did they try though?
that's when you started getting like a feel for like where Dylan's head was at. He was intoxicated the whole movie, but he was like
Daniel?
or was it Daniel? I'm sorry,
Daniel.
Daniel.
D
Daniel.
name.
Yes, thank you. And he kept asking like, oh, can't we use one of the hands? And like, nope, it has to be the bride has to be. And you're like, okay, so he doesn't want to actually hurt Grace, but that's kind of where his head was at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so after all the family gets out of there, Alex and Grace come up with a plan to try to get Grace out of the house. So Alex takes Grace back into like the servants' passageways or something. There's something like that. And he explains to her that she just got to go straight and then into the door that leads to the kitchen, and he's going to unlock the doors with the security system. And she grabbed her Converse, her yellow Converse, which I have a fun fact about. Converse doesn't make that shade of yellow anymore. They don't sell Converse shoes in that specific shade of yellow. So these shoes were hand painted for this film.
Oh,
That's
they
kinda cool.
wanted yellow Converse that bad?
They did. I mean, it's very clear that costuming was really important to this film, especially on Grace.
Yes, the wedding dress.
The attire and everything. It
Yeah, I
was
mean,
all
this is
good.
the first bit of it you get. She tears out a bit of the bottom of it, a bit of the skirt.
Yeah.
Is that a word? that
That's
you'd use?
correct, yes.
Okay, so she can run properly. And as the movie goes, as she just goes through more and more, the wedding dress just slowly becomes a utility where it's just ripped away more and more and more to just kind of symbolize the state of this marriage, I imagine.
Yeah. Kind of her mental state as well.
Yes.
So she goes down the hall and she gets to the end of the hall in the servants' quarters, and there are 2 doors. Alex, she doesn't live here. She doesn't know which door leads to the goddamn kitchen.
And she happens to pick the door that just puts her in the hallway in between literally everybody.
The entire family, as they're carrying away the first dead hand, they're like, oh, well, there she is.
But thank God Coke Daughter exists because she just shoots and misses and is shooting directly towards all the other family members. And this gives Grace enough time to somehow get out of this
Just
situation.
scramble away.
She runs.
It's honestly one of my favorite things about the movie. It's just how she was just kind of like a punchline to the family. I don't even want to say a punchline because a few people were like comforting her, like, oh no, it's okay. But like a few people were like, like the dad was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like he was like aim center mass, and she wasn't even close.
No, the dad was trying to give her like real direction, but every time she'd mess up, she'd be like, I'm so sorry, Daddy. And he'd be like, it's okay, Angel.
And then she'd go and do more drugs.
Yeah.
She'd go start popping pills or go rip another line.
Yeah, and she'd continue to fuck shit up the entire movie.
You know, fair enough.
If
I was in this family and this was happening, I'd be getting fucked up because I wouldn't know how else to handle it.
No, I would be hiding. I would not be a part of this.
I'd be where I'd probably just be where Alex is at, even if it wasn't, you know, my bride. I'd probably just be sitting in a room like, yeah, I'm looking.
Right?
Well, I mean, would you though, knowing there's a curse on your family that may or may not
would you
be
believe
real?
it?
I don't know.
Would you kill someone for a hypothetical curse that you apparently have?
No.
I mean, no, but it's just like, I don't want to jump ahead if you need to press M, but is it a hypothetical? It wasn't a hypothetical.
Or was it?
Or was it?
I mean,
How do we know?
They all
Maybe they all exploded. Maybe they all exploded in a bloody mess.
I was gonna say I'm trying not to jump
Maybe
ahead.
they blew
but
up balloons on a green screen full of blood. They might have done that.
They might have
Maybe.
done that.
Do we know for sure that was
How they did it?
no. The curse.
The curse? Oh, that is true. It could be ambiguous. Could be a metaphor.
Could be a metaphor for greed. It's a metaphor for greed.
Could be a metaphor. It could be.
Could be the wedding dress thing. Could be him seeing her before the wedding dress. That was the real curse.
That's what it was, guys.
It wasn't the family curse. It was the fact that he saw her in her wedding dress before the wedding.
That's what did it.
That's what did it.
And this is why we don't let our future husbands see us in our wedding dress.
That's how it works.
Before the wedding. You know,
But
cell phones exist. If you want to talk, just call them up.
But then we get a nice little peek into Daniel's state of mind when he just kind of waltzes into the study, I believe is what they called it, and just sees her, and he's just like, I don't want to be the one to serve you up. You have 10 seconds to run.
And bro took his sweet ass time, pulled him a cup of whiskey instead of counting.
Mississippi.
Yeah, he actually. This is where we really get a good glimpse into Daniel, because what we didn't mention in that opening sequence where we see the last time this hide and seek game happened is that Daniel is the one that called the family as the last guy was trying to get away. And it has definitely traumatized him. He is drunk this entire movie. And he really gives Grace every chance he possibly can.
Like to the best of his ability,
Yes.
essentially.
Because he also doesn't want to be the one to blame for the death of his family. But he's not going to be the one to blame for her death either. So when he says, I'll give you a 10-second head start, he goes, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 2.5 Mississippi.
He didn't even jump from 2 to 3. He just went 2.5. Like, okay, he really wants to give her as much time.
And then he kind of pauses after 3 Mississippi and then just kind of goes, she's in the study. But once they kind of regroup after they've all lost her, you kind of just see they immediately break the rules they set out because they were like, oh, we'd only play it the way they played it in great grandpa's time.
No electronics, no locks, but like
no cameras.
No, they can have the locks, but they couldn't have the cameras.
There was the cameras. Okay.
They couldn't have access to the cameras, and they had to use weapons from great grandfather's time. And immediately they're ready to break all those rules.
Just be like, oh, who said that? That's stupid. Great grandpa wouldn't have even known cameras were going to be a thing. Like,
that's not tradition. It's not great grandpa's fault that he wasn't alive during cameras. Anyway, can I use the handgun in my purse? No, it's tradition. We have to use the right weapons. That's exactly the conversation that happens here.
Which is hilarious. And you just kind of see that this family is massively dysfunctional.
Very massively.
But I think that's kind of a given if they're in this kind of situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Coke daughter might have given it away, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption. But Grace, she's on the run. She finally gets to that damn kitchen, and Alex is in the camera room, playing a little Five Nights at Freddy's, trying to get the door open. And then we get our first little sequence with the butler, Stevens, as they just play a little secret ring around the island countertop. Oh wait, I completely skipped over the suit up scene.
Oh yeah.
So the poster of this movie is Samara Weaving in her beat up dress with the bandolier of elephant gun bullets and the big ass double barrel.
Mm-hmm.
She looks in the mirror and just kind of goes, Jesus.
Yeah.
This look is really cool.
She looks hot.
But I'd say it's definitely misleading for how the rest of this movie goes because she's not like this super ultra badass yet, at least.
Not even close.
She still has no idea what she's doing. Just pure survival instinct, essentially.
Yeah. And that's one of the good things about this movie, too. Yeah. I feel like a lot of times you'll watch like slashers or different other horror films and you're like, I wouldn't just know how to do that. Like they don't go through the whole figuring out how to survive and kind of like feeling like, oh, should I kill this person?
Well, I compare this movie a lot to You're Next. The plot of You're Next is similar-ish. Basically, it's another rich family, but in this case, one of the rich sons and his sketchy girlfriend call a hit on the entire family.
Ooh.
But what they don't know is the girlfriend of one of the other sons grew up on a survivalist camp. So that's kind of what that poster gave me the vibes of is, oh, she's going to be a badass and know what she's doing, which she is a badass. She puts herself through some shit.
Badass.
But she's not can whip your ass with martial arts bullshit and put your head in a blender like in You're Next. But they are very similar movies in like my heart.
Yeah. But anyway, they play the little they go kind of round and round the kitchen countertop, the island. And this butler is humming and then full out belting the 1812 overture.
And he's killing it.
He is killing it. But in this time, she tries to shoot him, realizes the gun is not loaded.
It is not only not loaded.
Well, then I'm going through the whole process.
Okay, my mistake.
Then she loads the gun. Finally comes up behind the behind the butler, or was it just in front of him?
I don't think she points the gun at him.
Yeah, she points the gun at him.
Makes her presence known.
I don't think his cardinal direction is that important.
Yeah.
No.
And
was he north or south?
And goes to shoot him, and he kind of just like laughs at her, and he's like,
the ammunition is display only, which is such bullshit.
She had a big ass elephant gun, and they were display rounds only.
I wanted to see him go flying.
She also would have went flying. The gun was longer than she was, and the round was
It was the size of a human fist.
Yeah.
It was
basically.
insane. It would take your torso out in one shot. It would have been insane. And I was really looking forward to it. And then he was talking shit about how they were display only and they were just fake rounds.
So she grabs the only thing she can find, which is the teapot full of hot water, and smashes it over his head and runs the fuck away.
And she just kind of hangs out on the roof for a little while. You get some little character development moments, but honestly,
So she hangs out outside this window
oh yeah,
of Alex's bedroom, and while all this is going down, Tony and Daniel had found Alex in the security room because they had gone down there to turn on the cameras and cheat.
like cheaters.
Yeah. And in figuring out what they were going to do, Alex smashed the entire system so they could not cheat and use the cameras. So they take Alex up to the bedroom and handcuffed him to the bed. And was it his mother?
It was Helene.
It was Helene and his mother.
His
right?
mom, yes, his mom came in and spoke to him for a little bit.
Oh, that's true.
Yes,
and then
his mom.
Helene.
Yes.
I thought we were talking about the conversation where Helene's like, he's the one who's going to lead the family.
Right. Oh no, it was Helene and the
Dad.
So, yeah, they basically kind of are like, well, the dad's like, he's never really been a part of this family, and they're like, Helene says he's gonna lead this family, and she lets us know that he's the only one who's seen Mr. LaBelle.
There you go. I was like,
Thank you.
in his chair.
In
That's-
his chair.
He has a chair at the table,
He does.
that
He
no
sits
one
at the head
sits
of the
in.
table. Yeah.
which red flag.
So yeah, so she's actually hanging out outside the window. Wait, we missed the dumbwaiter kill.
Did we miss the dumbwaiter
I
kill?
think we missed the dumbwaiter kill.
Where the third and final hand dies.
We missed the second hand too.
Yes.
Yeah, because I have best kill of the movie.
Okay, quick backtrack. Coke daughter fucks up again and shoots the second handmaiden in the mouth with an arrow.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there just gurgling, and it's gross. And Helene's just like, "Oh, you cowards!" and then just beheads her like it's nothing.
Yeah. Oh, now I remember where that happened. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, we also missed the dumbwaiter kill.
Which was it was when she was running away after she hit the butler.
Yes.
So yeah, she runs back through the hallway, presumably to get to that bedroom and get out that window.
Yes.
And this is the best kill of the movie. It's my favorite. I love the dumbwaiter kill.
Talk about it.
So there is the last maid hiding in the dumbwaiter. She goes to hide in there. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, she's like, I don't know what's
She's
going
like, I don't
on.
know what's happening. I'm just hiding in here. Grace tries to tell her to get out. She's like, oh, they're looking for me. You'll be fine.
Yeah. And so the help goes to scream to let them know where she is, and puts her hand outside the dumbwaiter and hits the button to move the dumbwaiter.
Which, if this is how dumbwaiters work, I'm not sure.
So, well, because this is a fancy new working dumbwaiter, the thing goes to close and dumbwaiter goes to go up, and the help is still sitting with her head outside of the dumbwaiter. The thing closes on her, the thing goes up, her neck broken.
And she kind of gets squeezed out like a bottle of toothpaste.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's cool. It's gross.
It's gross, but it is so cool.
There's a lot of gross gore in this movie.
That was the easiest to watch, though.
That's fair. The arrow in the mouth bothers me. That's like next level.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot worse. I've watched a lot of movies, but damn, the gurgling in general always gets me.
Yeah. I think it's because she dies so quickly because it snaps her neck, so she's dead. So,
but snapping back to the future.
Yeah.
Speaking of snapping, Grace finally gets outside and she runs to the barn, and this barn is gross. And that's when this stupid snot-nosed kid finds her.
I believe
and
it was
she's
Georgie.
Like, his name was Georgie.
Was it Georgie?
Yes. She just goes up to him like, "Oh, Georgie, thank God." And this stupid little kid just shoots her in the arm. Shoots her through the fucking hand. Golf ball sized hole.
In her hand.
And then she just knocks the fuck out of it.
She Superman punches the shit out of this like 9-year-old child without
She knocks
hesitation.
him out
immediately. He's
And
unconscious.
it sets off the most unfortunate chain reaction of unfortunate events, which is she gets scared by a goat, stumbles back, falls into just a pit that's just in there, into the pile of bodies from all of the previous spouses.
So notice there was only one previous spouse in there.
And the rest were goat bodies.
And the rest were goat bodies because they've been sacrificing goats.
Yes. And that's,
I just saw ambiguous ribs, so I wasn't sure.
They were goat bodies.
They were goat
That's
bodies.
kind of when I started picking up on certain symbolism in the movie.
Yeah.
But then we get probably the most like cringeworthy moment in this movie because one, it's already disgusting because she's in this just rot pit.
It makes her throw up.
Makes her throw up almost immediately. It takes her from somewhat flowing white dress-ish to completely just covered in blood and dirt and grime. And she's climbing up this shitty ladder, and you keep getting this little kind of out of focus shot of a nail at the top of the ladder.
It scares me. Every time that came up, I was like, oh, I don't wanna.
It lets you build up to it. I've seen it before, and I was still like, as we were watching it, just wincing. Like
It was there.
Like it.
You knew something was gonna happen with it. Just when they
It's
started.
like when you
showing at
see
it.
the nail on the stairs in The Quiet Place. Like,
yeah.
Oh God, that's a good movie too. That's
Or the nail on the stairs in Home Alone. Even
It's just an ongoing gag.
That one's
in
funnier.
movies. Like, yeah,
it still gets me though. Whenever he steps on the nail, I'm like, ooh.
Whenever they show that kind of stuff, or like when they didn't like make it obvious at first, but like you guys said, they kind of like kept panning over to this nail, like, hey, this is important. Keep an eye on it for like a few more minutes.
it's got me checking the stairs in here to make sure there's just laying nails
You
up there.
should be okay. You should be.
There's a lot of nails down here.
As the ladder collapses, we get what I can only describe as, maybe a spiritual tribute to Mike Flanagan and some nice, good hand trauma. Because, she slams her hand right through the nail, the hand that was already shot, and it's just kind of bouncing around in there. She's trying to get back up. But what a fucking pro. Because she still does somehow manage to get the strength to get up.
Adrenaline.
That's what it's got to be.
It's just all adrenaline, essentially.
As a person who had a migraine all weekend and tried to work with it, adrenaline does just make pain go away.
I think this is a little worse than a migraine.
Yeah, no crap.
So extra adrenaline.
Okay. Anyway.
But it's gnarly. It's disgusting.
It's so
I can't
gross.
stand hand trauma or foot trauma. Both fuck with me in
Anything
a way
that I feel like could actually
can't.
happen.
Yeah, like that's why. Thing is, like, I can watch a movie and see like some guy get sliced open, but if I see someone break an arm, I wince. I can't handle it.
I hate it.
Like, that's horrible to me. Like, relatable pain.
Yeah,
it's relatable because like thing is like getting like cut open from stomach to rib cage is like doesn't make me wince because it's probably so painful I can't even imagine it.
Yeah.
But I can imagine what stepping on a nail feels like.
Don't talk about it.
Nails on chalkboard, all that good stuff. Fork on the plate. Oh, man.
Stop. They're messing with me, guys. They're dragging nails on
I'm
things.
dragging my nails across the table and she doesn't like it.
I don't like it.
That's fun.
I'm freaking out, guys. It's giving me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I just have all I have written for this whole sequence is "get fucked, kid."
Because that's basically what happens. She climbs out and this kid stays unconscious in there for quite a bit longer.
But I have to say, Samara Weaving has probably the best horror scream. Like she's like the
It's
scream
so
queen.
good.
I don't know how it like goes like it has like
Wavy.
vibrato.
It's wavy.
It's so I have a lot of random theater training, and one of the things I have in my random theater training is how to scream without breaking your voice.
Can you scream now?
I thought you were about to do it.
I'm
like,
not gonna, no, I'm
don't.
not gonna do it. I'm gonna break this microphone. I'll max it
Stand
out.
back a little bit.
I don't want to do it right now.
Scream.
Damn, she doesn't want to do it.
But you have to, it's all about screaming with your like chest instead of like normally your reaction is kind of more to scream like just with your vocal cords. But if you really think about using your diaphragm and supporting it doesn't always sound like that. A lot of times actors go for a more high pitched like,
Yeah.
But she went for a really guttural sounding.
Because that's a more
And that's why it has that reverb, because she's using her chest to scream.
and it's probably more real.
It feels very real.
It's and it's scary because it's like this
This is how I would
yeah.
scream.
in
This
this
is how I would
situation.
scream. Yeah. Because it's almost like she has to scream because it hurts, but she's trying to hold back so she doesn't get caught.
But and she doesn't really get clear of the pain anytime soon because next is the fence.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't like boob trauma.
was it boob trauma or was it back trauma?
That was boob trauma.
It was like
boob trauma.
It was like right
there was
here.
there was blood on the pads of her dress. So right where the dress does the little cleavage thing, makes
Yeah.
a little heart shape. There's pads right there so that no nipples show. And it was totally drenched in blood because it cut right through here. I could
But-
tell that was boob trauma.
She's just trying to get through this cast iron fence.
First she tries to bend the cast iron, which made it on my list. I would not try to bend that.
Things I would never do. Try and bend a cast iron.
No, for real. I know I'm not Superman, okay? And I think
You
she
could
does
be.
too. So I know I'm not Superman. I have had this fantasy. I am not. I am.
What?
By fantasy, I mean like daydreaming, James.
Okay, I was like,
We all wish.
fantasy about being Superman?
We all wish we were at some point. Well, we were an alien from another planet, and
That's
we
true.
had superpowers, and that our lives were gonna change one day because we have we have super strength, and we're gonna go save somebody. The city, specifically. The city.
Well, we honestly kind of get my favorite bit of this movie after this. So she gets out and Stevens is right on her tail.
Well, I feel like we skipped some.
No, he didn't.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on with the family between all of that. So where they go and send the two mess ups, so Daniel and Coke Daughter,
Oh yeah.
out to take away.
Well, these are kind of happening hand in hand.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to mention them because I have notes written.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. They go out to take away another maid body, and they both go into the barn, and they're throwing the
They have
the
a wheelbarrow
parts.
of all three of them.
Yeah, they're throwing the parts in there. Daniel just fully grabs the one maid that got shot through the mouth. He just grabs the arrow that's
Like it's a
sticking
fucking shish
out of
kebab.
out of her mouth and just holds up her head
And like waves it around
Like it's a
during
fucking
conversation.
toy and
Like
tosses it into this pit where all the goat bodies are and shit.
It's so freaky.
That's when they find Georgie.
They find Georgie, and he explains what happened.
Well, before this, Daniel says the line, basically, I forget verbatim what he said. Basically, we deserve to die.
Yes.
And, you know, Coke Lady's like,
My kids don't. Yeah.
And then you kind of get an immediate payoff to that line where he's like, I shot her in the hand. And she's like, oh, I'm so proud of you. And it's like,
yeah, so that's a double thing, because in that opening sequence we see Daniel's mom, as soon as he calls the family over to get the last spouse, she leans down and says, I'm so proud of you. And you can see
the pain in this man's eyes.
What was the actor here? Adam Brody. So Adam Brody, you get an award from me today for the immediate reaction to that line, because I felt that so hard.
He's just seeing the perpetual cycle of this family, essentially.
He is so traumatized. That triggered him. Because
I think, if anything, that right there reinforced his belief that
him and his
even
family,
if it's true, we deserve it.
They deserved it to die.
Stay close, stranger. The room awaits you after these messages.
Yeah.
Which, you know, yeah.
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 It's true. They kind of do.
They kind of do.
But
and while this is happening, then Daniel's wife spots her running to the fence. Grace running to the fence.
That's true.
And tries to shoot at her. And we learn even she isn't good at shooting, because she hits a bird.
She shoots way
She
over
overshot
her
it.
head.
She tried to like compensate for like the arc of the arrow, and like with a crossbow, it's pretty damn strong. You don't have to compensate that much. She shot clear over into a tree and hit a bird.
Yep.
It is low-key probably one of the funniest gags in the movie. Because
like,
it's set
shit.
up like it's going to fly. You're like, your brain's thinking, okay, it's going to fly right by her head, and she's
Right.
going to keep running and scream or something.
I thought it was going to hit her in the leg or something. I thought she was going to get tagged in the leg. But like it made it even more funny when it wasn't even fucking
Not even a
like,
little
oh,
bit
okay,
close.
okay, like so she's probably safe because none of these guys know how to fucking aim to save their life.
Yeah. And so Daniel's wife walks back in and grabs Stevens, who is comedically dragging in a mop bucket to clean up the blood, which we have the same mop bucket at my place of work, which is why I noticed it so quickly.
Are you going to carry it out like that? No, just, you know.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So he's getting ready to clean up blood, and she's like, she's outside.
You know, now I'm just going to burst into your place of work while you're mopping and just be like, she's outside. She's headed towards the north fence. And that'll be your way out. And then you get to leave. You get to go home.
Sure. Sabrina will so go for that one.
Sabrina was like, what's the deal? I'm like, she's heading towards the north fence. And then she'll be like, oh, okay.
Sure. She's going to be like, Ashton, I think your boyfriend's crazy.
I'm just trying to get to Justin here, okay?
Okay. All right.
We got
to. Okay.
But he does eventually find her in this wide open field. And they, you know, Stevens, you might be a little bitch made. It just took a little palm on his boiling water burn, and boom, he's getting choked out. Like, it's that easy. And she jacks his car, and we get probably the funniest scene in the movie where she calls. It's basically like
an OnStar system.
OnStar, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin, the OnStar man, is just, you know, doing his corporate voice, and she's like, they're trying to kill me, call the police. And he's just, yeah, I can definitely help you with that. Actually, this car was reported as stolen, and she just
shuts it off.
he shuts off the car. She's like, Justin, please.
He's like, is there anything else I can help you with? And she's like, go fuck yourself, Justin, or something like that. It was funny.
Yeah.
Justin just
Poor
goes,
dude is just working
all
a
right.
reception, like just a basic like
have
customer
a nice
service
night,
job.
ma'am.
So, one of my fun facts: the voice of of Justin is the director, Matt Bettolini. It's the last fun fact.
Matt Bettolini.
That's what I s-
Bettinelli.
Bettinelli.
Bettinelli. Sorry. We should probably figure pronunciations out of names we don't know. Or maybe it adds to the charm.
That's why you listen to us.
Please vote in the Discord. Do you like it
It's Matt
when we mispronounce
Bettinelli
names 100 times?
Mm-hmm.
was his name.
But yeah. So, not good. Not good at all. Unfortunately, while she's sitting there screaming in the car, that somehow Stevens she drove a decent distance. I don't know how Stevens caught up.
Magic. Butler
Movie
magic.
Butler
No,
Magic.
Butler magic.
Butler magic. Well, he's not the soft-hearted butler. He's the probably used to be like an MI5 agent kind of butler.
Yeah, Butler magic.
And you know, there's a bit of a struggle, but long story short, she gets tranked. But we get the video call where he's just blasting 1812 Overture while video calling the family, like, you know, basically just celebrating. And they're trying to get his attention because Grace is waking up in the back there. And she just fucking kicks the shit out of him from the back seat. In the crash. And then we get what I would call a heartbreaking scene, but only temporarily, because guess what? Daniel finds her, and guess what? He is going to be the one to serve her up. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, my note here was, okay, Teen Wolf.
But you find out after, you know, he knocks her out that Dad was watching. So that kind of gives you a little bit of hope for Daniel that maybe, just maybe, he's still going to help. Maybe. But unfortunately, they do get her on the table from Mr. LaBelle. And, you know, when you wake up and you're on a pentagram table and there's people around you chanting Latin in cloaks, it's probably not a great sign.
No, it's not a great one. Not at all.
Have you ever been there, Shane?
No, I can't say that I
You
have.
wanna?
No. No, I fucking don't.
I felt prety close when we went to a local haunted attraction, and there was the basement was hell themed, and there was the man in the goat who kept following me. The man in the goat mask who kept following me around.
Where was this? Oh, was it? You told me it was really good this year.
It was. This basement actually scared the shit out of me.
I was pissed. I didn't get to go.
That dude was my pal. I had seen him earlier somewhere. That same guy.
Yeah.
And we had been nice to him, and so he immediately was like, I'm gonna follow this guy around.
Well, because two of them cornered me right in front of this altar, and I had this like moment that felt spiritually extremely dirty. Because I was like, I jokingly just go, "Hail Satan!" So I was like, "Now you'll leave me alone, right, guys?" And then they followed me for the rest of the haunt.
You summoned them.
Yeah, I guess so.
I was nice to them, and so they were like, "Yeah, they're gonna be fun."
Damn, how'd I get here?
So
you asked me if I wanted to get sacrificed.
So we're on the table, and everyone's chanting, and they all go to drink something.
Blood.
Blood.
I don't know.
Yes,
Probably.
Probably
I was
blood.
thinking it was blood. The way Fitch was reacting when he drank it, he was like, "Ugh." I'm like, okay, it's either really shitty wine or it's blood. I think it was blood.
It's probably
goat
blood. It's probably goat blood because it was a satanic ritual.
Yes. Yeah. There was a lot of satanic like hints. Like there was a lot of emphasis on goats like halfway through the movie. And then it doesn't help. Like once she was on the table, they started chanting "Hail Satan" as well. So it's like, okay,
Almost, because right when he says "Hail," he chokes up.
Oh, he choked. Yeah.
And the whole family starts fucking puking, and Daniel starts taking her off the table, and you're like, hell yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, my note is thank God for Daniel.
And we get the hammiest line delivery in the world where Aunt Helene just goes, poison. And he's just basically like, I gave him a dose just to kick him in the ass. It won't kill him, but you got to get out of here. And unfortunately,
yeah, so they come around.
He didn't
the
give
corner.
him quite big enough dose because Charity kind of gives chase almost immediately.
Yeah, and shoots him.
That's
right
the gold
in the
digger,
neck.
just for context. And she shoots him in the neck. And this is right where Alex is getting free from his bed handcuffs. And you kind of see the writing on the wall of what's going to happen.
And as he's dying, Grace like leans over to like try to help him, and she's upset because she liked Daniel, and he saved her obviously. And he says, "Go," and so she starts running.
But unfortunately, she doesn't get out here.
Nope.
She runs right into Mom, essentially, and. You get this fight where Mom's just like, I thought you were going to be the new me, but, now you have to die. It's a little over the top.
Mm-hmm.
But
they start girl fighting.
My notes is pretty much just, hell yeah, Grace, because they're just scrapping it out.
Mm-hmm.
But, Mom gets the upper hand, and her name's Becky, which I think is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. But Grace starts pulling this tablecloth and just starts beating her to death with Mr. LaBelle's box. And of course, this is right when Alex walks in.
And you start to understand, like, this is where she starts to get that overwhelming, like, panic, and just, she goes too far. She could have just knocked her out, but she beats the hell out of this woman. And actually there's like pieces of flesh and hair and scalp on the box.
It's a gnarly visual. So on one hand, Alex, I understand it must suck to walk in and see, just the visual of your wife had just bludgeoned your mom to death. But you have to keep the context in mind, my dude, because the first question out of my mouth wouldn't be, you won't be with me after this, will you? Which I think is the moment you realize just how selfish he is.
And she says nothing during this scene. He keeps trying to talk to her and being like, we're going to get out of here, just saying a lot of different things. And she's just like in so much shock. She just looks at him. It's really good.
It is really good.
It's really good. I've done the looks at him thing before.
And unfortunately, the first thing she does get to say is when he grabs her head and he's kind of squeezing, she's like, you're hurting me. And he puts her in a headlock, and you know the drill. Mm-hmm. She's in here.
She's back on the table.
She's back on. They just decide to do it right there in that dining room.
Yeah.
And, they're like, it's almost done. We have to do it now. And Grace, they finally finish the chant and end it with a Hail Satan.
Yeah.
Then that this is exactly, all the kind of allusions to, because I think Mr. LaBelle, he's the devil.
Yeah.
Obviously. All the board games that are Mr. LaBelle something have a little devil on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Grace gets kind of one last gasp. She lands the stab into her shoulder instead of her heart, gets up, does probably the best scream in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, they notice it's daylight. And guess what? Nothing's happened.
Nothing's happened yet.
Nothing has happened at all. And that's how the movie ends.
No. No, that'd be funny. But as they're starting to like put together nothing's happening, Aunt Helene goes, well, we should just kill her anyway. And she just explodes.
She just fucking explodes.
She completely explodes. There's blood everywhere.
And, you know, this is the moment where Shane just kind of looks at me and he goes, are they all going to explode? And I'm like, I love you, buddy, but you just wait like literally 30 seconds.
It was so just like over the top. Like I'm like, there's no way. I thought like something stupid like the house was going to start collapsing and like she was going to get crushed by like a chandelier or the ceiling. But no, she literally just blows up. She explodes.
All of them, one by one.
And we get the great visual of the house is on fire, by the way. I forgot to mention this.
She knocked over a lantern earlier and caught
the drapes
on fire, and so the house is slowly setting on fire. And at this point, the fire somehow starts the record player.
I think it's implied that it went down on its own.
Oh, okay.
Like Mr. LaBelle turned it on.
Oh,
because it's all you see the
it's
record.
All timed. Yeah,
the record's all warped and shit too.
Yeah.
From the fire.
Yeah, so it's really cool.
And you just hear the fun. You just see they start going kind of one by one. My favorite bit is Fitch spits some blood out of his mouth. And apparently the actor, he really wanted the blood to be in his mouth.
Yes, he did.
He was like,
That's gross.
it was made of like jelly and other edible stuff. So he held his mouth wide open and got as much in as he could and just kind of went,
yeah.
He's the next to go.
Yeah, he says, I knew it wasn't, something around, I knew it wasn't real. Like,
well, then Aunt Helene goes.
Yeah.
But then he's just like, I take it back. He's just like, I'm good, right? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like they all just start bargaining essentially.
Yes.
And he goes, and then tastefully, Coke Lady and the two kids go off screen.
Mm-hmm.
They've run out of the room, and then there's just three and blood flying into the room. And Grace is just snickering. Like she's just going
laughing. I'm like, yeah, she's off her fucking rocker.
Well, because I'm laughing too, because it's such a like.
She's so. I think I took it more of a laugh of like, of course it's real. Yeah, of course. Like, but couldn't have happened to shittier people.
Right.
Like, thank God.
Right.
The Tony, the patriarch of the family, starts trying to just control it. He's like, I'm in control here. Well, holding Mr. LaBelle's box, and then kablooey.
Yeah.
He explodes. And then we just get my favorite moment of Grace laughing where she straight up snorts.
Yes,
She's like,
it's so
she watches
funny.
him explode while Alex is like, hey, she just and you know he's bargaining with her. He's like, see, I haven't exploded. It's because I'm getting another chance, you know. But you can kind of hear in the background the songs counting down, and right when it hits one, kablooey.
Yeah. And as the flames start to engulf the room, you see Mr. LaBelle sitting in the chair, and he gives Grace a little nod. And she walks out of the burning building.
Fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say she says
right.
she's like,
fuck. Like, oh shit, he was real. That's crazy. But she walks out of the building, goes ahead, takes a seat on the stairs, and the cops finally show up. She decides to have a smoke, and this guy's asking her if she's okay, what's going on, what happened, and she goes, in-laws.
roll
In-laws.
credits.
Roll credits. Hell yeah.
Hell
What a
yeah.
movie.
Fantastic movie.
This movie was probably 2019 was one of the best years for horror movies in recent times. And this movie's well in my mind in that sphere of films that came out that year. While it's not like a masterpiece, I can't put it like super high up there.
It's a really well written horror comedy. It's a good balance of the horror and the comedy.
I don't know, what are some of your thoughts, Shane?
I enjoyed it. It knew what it was. It didn't take itself seriously for the whole movie, at least. Like, it knew when to kind of like settle down and like kind of focus on the story and the environment and the anxiety it creates. But like they knew when, like, oh, audiences are gonna probably find this fucking hilarious. Like, I'm like, you can't sit there and tell me like they're like, hey, they're gonna get a kick out of everyone literally just exploding. Like, they don't die in like some dramatic way. The Grace doesn't kill them all. We're just gonna have them all fucking explode just for fun.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, you can't tell me like this is gonna be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it.
Hell yeah. Well, I guess I'll go around the table. Ashton, how many blown up in-laws would you give this movie out of 10?
I'm gonna give it a 9 blown up in-laws out of 10.
That's a high one there.
That's the highest rating so far.
Am I going next?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like I have to judge this like differently than like an actual. Like,
No, just judge it as a movie.
like how much I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'd give it an 8.5, 8.5 blown up in-laws.
Okay. I'm more at 8 blown up in-laws personally, which is still a really good score.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably it's definitely top 5 horror comedies for me.
Mhm.
So it holds a pretty special place in my heart.
I haven't seen too many horror comedies.
I think for me,
The line is really blurred. Like you got it. There's some that are comedies with horror
elements.
themes, like
Mhm.
horror, like I don't know, Seed of Chucky
Yeah.
is a
Bride of Chucky.
comedy horror.
Mhm.
Bride of Chucky is a horror comedy.
Mhm.
That's the thing. That was going to be my other example.
Yep.
Mhm.
2 movies right back to back. One is more of a comedy and one is still leaning more into horror.
yeah.
And this definitely falls into that still leaning more into horror.
For me, I've been judging a lot of these movies based on like how much I just enjoyed them as
Yes.
a movie, and based on the amount of notes I wrote, like I didn't even want to write notes.
Yeah,
half the
me
time. I
neither.
just wanted to
It's
enjoy
just
the
such
movie.
a fun movie just to sit down and watch.
Like I will be watching this again,
And-
probably soon.
It made me kind of struggle like talking this episode personally because I would lose track of the story a lot
Mhm.
because I barely wrote any notes. I just had fun. It is one of those movies that you do just kind of sit back and enjoy.
Mhm.
It's a popcorn flick,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, I would
Definition
I would go to a movie theater to watch this movie
exactly.
just to enjoy it.
But with that said, we get to finally get into our very first Room 237 Q&A.
So exciting! I was so excited to see so many Q&A questions.
Is this from the same list that we read off from the library?
No,
Or is
it's a
No,
this
separate
we have
Q&A
our
channel.
own
Gotcha.
Q&A. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you think we start answering Halo questions
No,
here?
I mean, here, to be fair, a lot of our questions in the library haven't really been. I mean, there's a few, but
Have you been looking at the Discord?
have I?
Yeah.
I don't check it as much as I
We
probably.
have a
you
whole
still have
section.
to join our community
Oh,
on
yeah.
Discord.
We have our
Okay.
own whole
I'll show you
section of
after.
the
Okay,
Discord.
yes, I will join that tonight.
But our first ever question comes from UNSC Lactating Infinity.
God damn it! they follow us here too. Fuck.
What are your thoughts on the Scary Movie series?
I've only seen one scary movie film.
What are your thoughts?
It was funny.
Not very deep on the Ashton end of
Yeah,
things.
I hadn't seen The Summer I Turned Pretty yet.
What?
Wait, no. What's the name of that one? Not The Summer I Turned Pretty. What's the one? What's
I know
the
what
name
you
of
did
the one?
last summer.
Yeah, thank you. God damn it.
Whoa! So that wasn't
They're
even
both-
close.
Please check the description so you can just be reassured that Ashton is getting into horror with us. She doesn't have the back knowledge that I do
They're
or
both-
like Shane would.
They're both young adult novel names. They're both young adult novel names.
The
Please
Summer I
understand.
Turned Pretty.
Please understand.
I'll be merciful and just move to Shane now.
Okay, I've seen. I think I want to say I've seen all of them. I don't remember which ones they are, but I've seen the ones where they parody Signs. I've seen the one where they parody War of the Worlds, and I've seen one where the one where they parody The Exorcist and The Grudge.
You haven't seen the first one?
Tell me what's the first?
Scream.
Scream.
Oh
and
yes, I've seen that.
Okay.
Yes.
Scream
Okay.
and
And I know what you did last summer, but
Yeah.
Scream's the main one. They
Yes.
parody usually like 4 or 5-ish movies,
All
but
in
there's
one.
always like 1 or 2
main.
main through line movies they parody.
Mhm.
Yeah. No. Okay. So I've seen a good chunk of them. I love them. They're all hilarious. I honestly watched them at an age I probably shouldn't have.
I think most people have.
Okay, because like I just go into
'Cause-
like I was probably like 8 or 9 years, flip on like Spike or Sci-Fi or something. I'm
And
like,
they'd be on there.
they'd be on there, and I'd
I
sneak
think I
watch
watched them
it.
this Halloween
Yeah.
season. I think the problem was that we watched a Scream movie and then we watched
movie.
we watched Scary Movie.
And it was
then,
just like watching a shitty version of Scream.
And then we watched did we watch?
No.
Oh, we started I Know What You
No.
Did Last Summer. I thought we did.
No.
No, we
I've
didn't.
never seen it.
I think we started it because I remember seeing the actual
You might have watched the kill count at some point.
no, I think we
We
started.
never did. Moving on. I haven't answered the question yet.
Okay,
let
James, yeah, your turn.
answer.
Middle school me loves these movies, but I recently revisited a couple of them. They are a bit dated.
Oh yeah,
The comedy is a bit rough. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
gross out comedy is not as funny as it used to be.
no, we
now
were
it's just
fucking
kind of
kids.
gross.
We were kids.
Yeah, no, that's now I'm remembering a little bit more. I think we didn't finish Scary Movie because I was like, this is
I forget what the sequence was, but we were like, this is just uncomfortable.
yeah, like
When-
I don't like this. It was like like jokes about women, and I was getting really uncomfortable really fast.
I think it was like rapey jokes.
Yeah, they were rape
Yeah.
jokes. Not my thing.
And it was like, this is just kind of awkward.
The one thing that I remember from those, the one where they pair, I think it was 3. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That was what I was going to say is Scary Movie 3 is the only one that's PG-13.
Is that the one? Where
It's the funniest one.
Is that the one where is that the War of the Worlds one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
No, that's Scary Movie 4.
Is it 4?
That's the Signs one.
Okay, well,
Scary Movie 3 is the Signs one. And like the comedy has to try a lot harder because it's PG-13.
Yeah. It wasn't just like stupid,
Gross, disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite joke in that movie is the lights turn off and the guy who's playing Joaquin Phoenix's character just screams like a little girl. like he's just like, Sarah, it's okay. It's like, that was me.
That was me. No, it was Scary Movie 4. What I was going to bring up is when they simulated the tripod coming out of the ground, it was an iPod Nano. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, come on, that's funny. It was funny as hell.
Yeah, like I guess I'm more speaking for the first two.
No, it was just
Or
gross.
just gross out comedy's not really
Yeah.
my thing
No,
anymore.
no, it's no.
That's why I was getting
But-
confused.
Our next question comes from Lactator of Dragons.
Oh my god.
Amazing name.
Who is more scared of the dark?
Me. I'm being very serious. I'm not kidding.
You do have a nightlight.
Huh? No, I don't. I sleep
Well, a
with my TV
projector,
on.
right?
Yeah, I don't use that. I just sleep with my TV on.
Ah.
But if I wake up in the middle of the night and it is dark, I will legit fucking panic.
I'm not scared of the dark. I'm more scared of like
What's in the dark?
no, like when there's like one obscure light on in the dark and you see the shadow monsters.
Oh, like that pile
Those
of
freak
clothes
me
that
out.
looks like
Those
A demon
They
child in
still
the
freak
corner.
me out. I think it's because sometimes they turn into sleep paralysis demons, and
No, I just don't like waking up and not being able to see like where the fuck I am or like where something or someone is. I don't like it. I
well,
just
for
don't.
context, my bedroom has no windows, so I really got used to the dark.
No, I'd lose my mind.
And I have migraines,
Yeah.
so I got used to the dark.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't really mind the dark. I don't sleep in pitch black anymore, but I used to for a while, so it doesn't really bug me. But
Mm-mm.
the thing is, context matters. If I'm in somewhere completely unfamiliar and I can't see in front of my
Mm-mm.
face, that's different.
Yeah, no one is taking me into a haunted house where I can't see. I'm not doing that. I refuse.
Damn. Kind of wanted to go to one. Anyway, Communist Vermin.
Vermin.
He asks, who do you think you would have a better chance against, Jason or Pinhead?
Jason.
Jason.
Yeah, Jason.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm not saying I
Are
have a
we
good
talking
chance.
pre-opening the box? Because, hey, I could just not open the box and I don't have to deal with Pinhead.
Right.
Well, a reminder that I haven't seen any of the Friday the 13th movies.
Well, Pinhead's the box one.
Oh, okay.
That's
I've not seen those either.
It's been a while, but I have. I know the concept.
I assume it's after opening the box. If you open the box, you are literally stuck in purgatory with Pinhead and the other Cenobites.
Right.
So
you're
not
Jason.
getting out.
No, I'm taking.
You're
Jason.
just gonna get tortured and die.
I'm gonna die regardless, but I'm taking Jason.
But I think I could survive Jason. I mean, you guys answer this for me. Okay, I have a question for Q&A. Do you guys think I have final girl energy?
Big red button.
What are you doing?
Press the red button. The giant glowing red at right at the bottom there. It's that one. Yes. No. The one that's bright.
Thank you.
They're all the same shade of red.
Except one is brighter than the other. It's not anymore because you hit the button. But now you just muted me again. Hey,
What are you doing?
I just want to interrupt and say thank you, Jacob Adlam, for subscribing at $150 a month on Patreon.
Whoa.
It is.
Whoa.
I just wanted to real quick do that because I was excited.
Okay.
And you guys were done
Breaking
talking
news.
about the movie. How was it, by the way?
It was good. You'll have to listen and find out.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm going to have to. Anyway.
I guess I should refresh the Patreon page so that way
Yeah.
I can give Jacob his proper
Wow.
recognition.
He's our first chronicler.
What was the Halo name for that?
What?
What was the Halo name for that?
Precursor?
Precursor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jacob. We'll get to you again eventually.
You can mute me again now. Bye, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Well, that's exciting. What was?
I was
Jason,
asking you guys.
do you have
if-
final girl?
Do I have final
energy?
girl energy?
You
I'll
have,
answer after
you have kill in the cold open energy, which is like could be final girl energy. It's a toss up. So you're either first or never.
You just have to not do the dumb shit that every other fucking girl does
My
in a horror
list.
movie. Yes,
My
you
list.
at least have a list.
Okay.
So I'll give you that.
You do have the list.
You're learning from others' mistakes in a horror movie.
But that's why I think I could survive Jason, because I think I have final girl energy. Kind of.
Okay, maybe. I'm a dude, so I'm fucked no matter where.
Yeah, we all
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
chalked. We die regard. He really doesn't.
I
like
mean, I
guys.
guess I get
He doesn't like
distracted
anybody,
by
but-
things. If we're talking about like, you know, how in like horror movies where the friends always are like distracted by like having sex or doing drugs.
So you'd be the one reading a book and being lonely.
Ew.
That's how you survive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have no
It's
friends,
always-
so
It's the
So,
quiet
yeah.
one that reads that always survives.
Well, am I there?
yeah, I mean, yeah.
You're
Some of
fucked.
if I'm there, if you're a couple, you're fucked.
That's just how it works.
That's how they work.
No,
Or at least
one-
I'm dead.
One person in the
definitely dead.
couple is fucked. That doesn't mean both people in the couple are fucked.
Oh man.
Sorry,
Very fun.
James. You're the one who has friends in this relationship. So
Anyway, what makes a better horror movie? Jump scares or mess with your head creepy type movies?
You said jump scares and you lost me. Anything other than jump scares.
I
Jump
think
scares
I
add.
think it's the mess with your head.
it's
stuff.
mess with your head creepy movies.
It's psychological
Like,
environments.
if you're looking for
build
a
up.
thrill ride, then a jump scare heavy like Hollywood romp is fun.
Jump scares aren't a bad thing. It's about how
It's about the
excessive
build-up.
they are.
I think when it comes to it's what you want out of the horror movie, definitely. If you want the, like he said, like the thrill ride, then yeah, jump scares are gonna do it for you. But if you want to sit down and like have a thought experience, it's gonna be the ones that mess with your
like
head.
if you want something that's actually going to keep you up at night,
Mm-hmm.
you go the mess with your head route. Because there are
Yes.
movies I've seen that genuinely I've lost sleep over.
Mm-hmm.
Like they exist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just because, ooh, scary nun.
Yeah.
Shots fired, I guess, maybe.
But I guess, well, because The Conjuring really like messed with me, but I got to kind of mess with your head-ish.
There's jump scares, but a lot of it is also environment and build up.
Yeah, because that one, I literally sat there like trying not to have a panic attack the entire movie.
The first Conjuring movie I absolutely love.
It's so good, but it scared me. It really
That is a good horror
scared
movie.
me.
It is good. It is good. I'm more talking about The Nun.
Yes.
When I made a joke about
Yes.
The Nun.
The blood of Christ.
Oh God. Would you say Pennywise is better in the miniseries, which was Tim Curry, or the movie from Bill Skarsgård? And that one's from Austin,
It is
who was just here.
I
It
knew you were
is
gonna do this
like
one.
comparing apples to oranges. They're completely different.
I think they are. I think they're completely different in their portrayals of Pennywise.
Yeah.
So there's no. I feel like it's really hard to compare the
Because
two.
there's two sides of it, the being.
Mm-hmm.
There's this otherworldly, like Lovecraftian monster,
Mm-hmm.
and there's clown.
There's clown horror.
Now, I'd say Tim Curry does a much better job of playing a clown,
Mm-hmm.
and honestly, he's more accurate to how Pennywise is in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But Bill Skarsgård, probably one of the best physical performances I've seen in my life.
His Pennywise was a lot scarier.
He's
I mean,
so
it could
scary.
be just because the old one is dated.
I struggle to actually pick because I think I can acknowledge that Bill Skarsgård as an acting job was probably a better performance, but I just love Tim Curry so much, and I grew up with that movie that I can't pick one or the other personally, but I won't stop you guys.
I'm not gonna pick. I know this is disappointing, but I'm not gonna pick either because my thing is I love Tim Curry. He makes me cry every time I see him in something because I don't want. It's so sad. His
sad.
stuff is sad, but the horror that his Pennywise brings is a very different horror from the Skarsgård performance. Like he does creep me out in the way that any clown creeps me out. But Skarsgård scares you because there's just something wrong about that clown.
So wrong that it does kind of make you be like, what kid would ever be lured by him?
Yeah.
But he does an amazing job. So
Yeah. He's so good that
I want to see more of him
he jump scared actors on set
just by existing.
just
My
by
favorite
being there.
genre of image is Bill Skarsgård in full makeup, just like looking at the dailies, like
Yeah.
you know.
Like he had a really the kids weren't that scared of him, but the adults were terrified
yeah.
of him. That was the funny part.
Well, I love that clip. There's just that clip of him like walking around like high-fiving all the kids just like before they have the fight scene where he's just like, you kids ready to beat the shit out of me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Like just like it seems like he had a really so much fun on that set.
Mm-hmm.
Man. But anyway, that's it for the questions today. But that's all the time we have for today. Now, before I get into some of our closing remarks, I would, of course, like to thank all of our patrons. And if you support us, you could join the likes of some of our other patrons like Jacob Adium, Potassium, Dark Salad 42, Lactation of Regret, Dick Hammerbush. Oh, can you do it for Connor? Dick Hammerbush.
Ha.
Damn it. I thought you also went, yeah, for
No,
Dick
I
Hammerbush.
just laughed at the name.
Okay, it's default
Boo,
456.
fuck you, default.
Lactating Gator, Margarita Ortega, Cool Blaze, Kyle Hooley, Last Dawn Reactions, Mo Maggot Yallin, Spartan Habuko G156, Addy, Big Feet the Pondered, Connor Clark, Dylan, Garrus Valkyrian, Lactating Milk MT, LPU Soldier, Mask the Merc 664, Onyx X Diablo X, Perplexed Panic 1, Preacher, Lactation of Mercy, Vermin, Brendan Pfeiffer, Eliza, JX O'Malley, Keith G077, Oddball here, OsteoDST, Austin Taylor, Damian Groth, Dragon Eye, Drew Ledbetter, Hayden Hamilton, It's Default 2.0,
Bro, go away.
Pity 104, The Goob, Tyler Neal, Wraith, he told us how to on the last game night.
X3ian?
X3chian,
X3ian?
Keegan, Warm Applesauce, Amy McAllister. We like to have fun here. AJ, Ash, Classic Mark V, Damian Tomley.
Ash is back?
Oh, that was the free tier. I read the free tier one time only. Good, you're welcome. Something they don't do on the library. Come visit us more often. But a few things before we close out. Soon, I'm not sure when, and I'm not sure what. We are going to be having a Discord movie night.
Mm-hmm.
We're hoping to make it a semi-regular thing. Still very much in the works. Probably as often as I would think would probably be like monthly.
Yeah.
Be a bit hard to do something like that weekly just with scheduling and such. But we want to have more ways to interact with everybody. And I think that would be like the perfect little thing we could do. And how fitting,
Yeah.
But of course, thank you once again for joining us. Tune in next week where we will be covering A Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm warning you this time so you can have time to actually watch the movie before you listen to our podcast, because, of course, we always suggest you do that.
Yeah.
But once again, thank you and good night.
Bye.
Say bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us this evening, stranger. If you enjoyed your time with us, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/Jumperscape or join the community at discord.gg/Jumperscape. We thank you for your listenership and hope you enjoyed.